Howdy folks, I'm Grotto Goblin of the Goblin's Grotto, and welcome to another Bones 6 news video. For those not in the know, Bones 6 refers to the 6th Kickstarter campaign from the tabletop miniature manufacturer Reaper Miniatures, who aims to bring loads of new miniatures in bulk to its backers at a discount compared to retail prices, in addition to getting the molds ready of those minis for future retail releases. If any of this sounds of interest to you and you want to pledge, I recommend going back and watching my How to Pledge plus How Unlocks Work video once you're wrapped up here. But in the meantime, let's get into this week's news. Before we get too far into the weeds, I do want to go back and cover two tidbits that just didn't quite fit into the last video. First, Reaper has added an early version of their pledge manager to the Kickstarter. Now this is not the final pledge manager and does not contribute towards fulfilling your order in any way. It is purely a calculator showing you how much to pledge and for what. Being what it is, I'll save the deeper dives into the actual fulfillment pledge manager, how that works, and how to complete your Bones 6 order for future videos. The second thing worth circling back to is the Tales from the Griffin PDF. This is a multi-part document which serves as the official guide for Reaper's Green Griffin setting. It's got maps, lore, tavern menus, and loads of other things useful for your TTRPG sessions. It's also completely free, and you could print it out into a physical copy if you wanted. Now that that's all out of the way, let's look at some minis. First off, we crossed the 7,000 backer threshold and the $1 million threshold, by the way. The $1 million didn't unlock anything special, but the 7,000 did, that being the Barbarian Prince for the core set. And of course, if we meet these other two backer goals, the other Barbarian minis will be added into the core set, allowing us to complete this character's hero's journey. In addition to the Barbarian Prince, we unlocked the Warg, which was last week's social media goal. This week's social media unlock is the Honeythorn Lancer, a bee knight riding atop a bee steed. Amazing. It is going to fit in very well with the bee folk from Briarwood Vale, and I do believe that is the intention, though it is still very much going to be in the core set if we meet this social media goal. So if you want your very own Honeythorn Lancer in the core set, share Bones 6 on Twitter, Facebook, and wherever else you think you can get some eyes on it. Moving on though, there are some things in the core set which we don't have to do anything extra for. Like, for instance, these two Easter minis, the Owlbear Hatchling and the Owl Mirage. The Owl Mirage appears to be a unicorn rabbit, very cute, very unique mini indeed. This emerging Owlbear Hatchling will fit perfectly alongside its legendary Tales counterparts. In that set, we do have two baby owlbears and one unbroken egg. It seems almost necessary to get that add-on along with the core set now. I mean, for me, I was going to get it anyway, but that's just because of my long-standing affinity for owlbear minis. Another incoming core set addition is the two-headed troll Lardgulp. Now, we'd seen some shots of this guy a while back, but now we know where and when he'll be popping up. He'll definitely help bulk out the core set, which is in need of some more larger, detailed minis. Now, that's currently all I have to show for the core set. Actually, right before I was about to start processing this video, we unlocked the Wolf Pack. So those three minis will now be added directly into your core set for free. With this unlock, we also got a glimpse further down the line with the 4 fire newts that we had seen a while back. It had previously been thought that these might end up in an option, but they're actually going to be in the core set, which I for one appreciate. They're really good sculpts. And in another blast from the past, the Blood Club Bugbears are finally getting into Bones 6 as an option. There's Tonk, that female bugbear, the counterpart to Bonk. And this one, Karak, I think is actually a reference because I have an old Heroescape figure that's based on a D&D figure named Karak that has a very similar look and style, and I do believe it is also a bugbear. So yeah, I think this one's actually a reference. Overall, a good little set. Interestingly, this is a set of 5 and not 6, which makes this $14 option a little more expensive per mini than the other $14 options, though not by too much. Alrighty, that's all I have to jump in and talk about real quick. Back to the video and the expansions news. With Sullenhall and Green Griffin now fully unlocked, and with Briarwood soon to be unlocked with 3, 4, and 5 now all bundled together, it's time we get a look at those other 2 expansions, the Lost Tombs of Hakir and the Denizens of the Dungeon. I'll start us off with Hakir. Hakir is an Egyptian-inspired expansion. Up until now, we had only seen some concept art and a few green sculpt models, but now we have the first part of the expansion revealed. Fans of Moon Knight, The Mummy, and other Egyptian media may want to take particular interest in this set. In it, we have 2 large avatars of Egyptian deities, Anubis, a god of death, we've seen him before, and Tauret, a goddess of fertility and childbirth. Anubis, I'm sure, gets a lot of play, but Tauret much less so, which is a shame because she has a very interesting look and appearance. Also included is this large stairs and archway, which seems to be about on par with the temple facade from the Mandupar Pass encounter in Bones 5, if not a little bit larger. Of course, there is a sarcophagus and coffin set, a couple of inscribed pillars, a large crocodile, and, arachnophobia warning, a trio of scorpions. We got some close-ups of these little guys, or big guys I should say. I appreciate that they appear to be different species, and not just the same scorpion scaled up at 2 different sizes. That said, the 2 smaller scorpions do appear to just be duplicates of each other. Our last current looks for Hakir were not actually included in this part. We got another avatar, this one depicting the goddess Wadjet, a powerful protection deity. And for our last look, we got to see this work-in-progress model of what Reaper called an immolating effigy. It appears to be a brass or bronze construct of an oven that will seek to swallow players whole and bake them alive. Truly an awful way to go. Now that's all for Hakir for now, so let's move on to the Denizens of the Dungeon, our grab bag of monsters you will find in your various dungeon crawls. We've already seen several items for this expansion previously, so I'm going to stick to what's new in this video. Right off the bat, we have a band of Norkers, which are basically just goblins, which may or may not be infused with elemental magic stuff. Maybe. One of these fine fellows happens to be riding a boar. I like the little bell hanging around its neck. I can't imagine that's very helpful if you're trying to be stealthy though it is a boar, so I think you were probably already at a disadvantage. That said, the bell might actually be kind of intimidating if you are hearing that coming down a corridor. After that lot, we have a Minotaur. Always a fan of those guys. I'm very curious to see how this stacks up against the Greek Odyssey Minotaur from Bones 5, as well as some of my other Reaper Minotaur figures, which I've actually painted up a few times on this channel. Below that is a Hyenodon, which is a real thing that I don't think this mini is exactly trying to emulate. Still, it'll be a great mini to use alongside any gnolls or other such creatures. And it's a great, just large beast, though I'm not really sure how large it is given this graphic. Next we have a pair of troglodytes. We've seen these guys before, one of which is just a regular spearman, the other a king. They're meant to go with the Bones 4 troglodytes, which are sometimes available online in the Reaper store, depending on availability. Below those, another arachnophobia warning, are a trio of giant spiders. The graphics for the big one don't really do the pose justice. On one of Reaper's live streams, Ron held out a painted version and put it in the palm of his hand, and you can see that it's actually posed in a way that it's raising its forelimbs up into the air in that defensive threat pose that spiders make sometimes. The scroll graphic and one of the close-ups that Reaper provided don't really do this pose justice and kind of make it look like it's flat to the ground, which it is not. You can also see how big it is, and yikes. As for the other spiders, the resolution's really low on this image, but I would guess they're probably similar to the spiders we got in Bones 5. And, you know, they're spiders, they're big, they're monstrous spiders. Not much to talk about there, and they both look to be duplicates of each other, so there's that. And finally, for now, we have this giant slug. On a 3-inch base, this is one big slimy boy. Yeah, I'd say this is definitely more than capable of swallowing one of your adventurers whole. Scary. And cute. And that's part 1 of Denizens done. We did get a little teaser of a gargoyle halfway in frame in one of Reaper's updates, but we're not sure if that's in Denizens yet or in an option. Overall, it's a good start to these expansions. I'm happy to see where things go. I think we can expect Hakir to be a bit more terrain focused, and Denizens to be way more focused on specific minis. Speaking of terrain though, we got this weird little teaser of some kind of clawed hand holding an egg. The egg apparently being removable. This probably goes to some kind of Legendary Tales add-on, but who knows? Right now Reaper's being very mysterious about it. Something that's not so mysterious is our next option, the Hellborn Heroes. These are Hellborn or Tiefling adventurers in a variety of typical TTRPG classes. Given the popularity of Tieflings or Hellborn, any player or DM might want to have this option just for the cache of characters to have on hand. And last but certainly not least, Chaarondar the Cruel was unlocked. This is a $16 huge dragon option, which is a pretty great price if you're talking about retail dragons, especially at this size. So if you want this in your pledge, go ahead and add the $16 in now, and when the pledge manager goes live, you'll be able to use that $16 as credit to pick this dragon and get it shipped right to your door. Or P.O. Box, or wherever. I don't know. I'm not you. I don't know your life. And with that, gang, that's going to just about do it for now. With just over a week left in this Kickstarter, I think things are going to get pretty jumping soon. I'll try to keep up for y'all as best I can. And of course, once the dust is settled, I'll be doing retrospectives and explainers on how the pledge manager and other ways of engaging with Bones 6 works. If you enjoyed this content and want to see some of those videos, or even anything else I have going on, be sure to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out, and of course, it helps you see any videos I've got coming out sooner rather than later. For now though, I've been Grotto Goblin of the Goblin's Grotto. You've been you, and thank you so much for watching. Have a good one, stay safe, and if you've got them, let's go paint some minis. Take care.